How's James Batchelor doing?
James is not too bad, so we just need to see how he is this week, back end of the week. So he's done minimal contact, but we'll just see where he's at. Look, there's a chance he can play, but there won't be any risks either at the same time. So it'll be on Batch whether he wants to play or not. It's one of those where we're not going to force him. It needs to be player driven, that one. So we'll wait and see where he's at.
Will he be able to step it up, do you think, before the weekend?
Look, it's one of those where it's just whether he feels comfortable, whether he's comfortable in contact, and whether he feels that he's okay to play. So it'll be on James. That's as I said before, it's an injury, and it's a sensitive sort of spot, and we don't want further damage, and obviously he doesn't either. So it's just going to be one where if he feels okay to play, he'll play. If he doesn't, then he'll go another week.
As for any other injuries, have you got anything else that's troubling you at the moment? Anybody carrying any illnesses or anything like that, just to check?
No, everyone seems okay at the moment.
Good. Any loan movement this week at all, Willie, just to check on that as well?
Look, we're going to finalise our loans probably this afternoon. So with the loans, we're not 100% sure yet in terms of if guys are going to go yet or not. So we'll be able to confirm sort of later today or later on the week.
There's a change, isn't there, to the loan system for next season? What have you made of that?
So can you just let me know exactly what it's 1 week, isn't it, from what I believe?
Correct.
Yeah. Look, I like it. I think the 1 week, I think you should be able to get your player back. We've had situations where you want to give players game time, and then if you do that and then you get an injury and then the next person up and then you can't use them, it is difficult, because I think the most important thing is players going out and playing or playing internally, and sometimes they don't get that opportunity. So you're going to give them an opportunity to go play, or you want to give them an opportunity to go play, but you don't want to hinder your own squad as well. So I think it's going to be positive for everyone.
And a big story this week has centred around clubs being given the scope to take 10 non-fed players from next year, going up from 7. Was that something you were in favour of?
Oh, look, I think it all depends on your situation. I think with things like that, I mean, it's going to be brought in. And I think with things like that, you need to be given notice. Like we're a pretty organised sort of club. We do our recruitment, early, and we do it deliberately to do it early. So we're organised, as I said, and then you get that sort of put on you. It's and then we don't have a lot of, we've got none sort of left, so it doesn't sort of help us. But I'm certainly other clubs will be going, yes, it's great, and at the end of the day, it'll have its pros and cons. Obviously bringing in too many overseas players, does that then hinder the local English players? There's going to be pros and cons to it. I'm a believer. I mean, I think if they're going to bring it in, then you need to give ample time to be able to organise yourself, because as I said, we're sort of getting hindered if we did want to bring other people in from being organised. So look, I think as I say, it's got its pros and cons. I think eventually it's gonna it'll be good. There's no doubt about that. I think because you're going to get some players come over that that aren't getting an opportunity over there, but can certainly play, but haven't got the opportunity. And there's a number of players that have gone on to do that. I mean, guys like Tom Amone and John Asiata and Bevan French and Jai Field and guys like that who probably weren't getting the game time they wanted, come over here and have excelled. So there's no doubt you'll get those as well.
And in terms of the young talent coming through, long term, how do you think that will impact on the sport?
Look, I think long term, if clubs, most clubs have been wanting to be bringing as many juniors as possible. We're no different. We need to improve our pathways. We need to bring more of our juniors through. So the benefit to that is, when you've got the ability to be able to go and get, some more overseas players, if you want to go to that market, then that's going to certainly help. So for us at the moment, because we're not bringing a great deal through, it is a benefit if you've got cap. But look, for me, if we feel a player or a junior's the same as someone else, you're never going to bring someone else in. You're always going to go with the junior. So as I said before, it's pros and cons. It certainly opens the market up for overseas. And, I think the market's gone crazy with certain positions and stuff, because you are limited to, there's not a great deal of, say at one time front rowers out there a couple of years ago, then their price went up. Now the market's going to spread itself a little bit, so pros and cons to it all. I think, I think if most clubs, and we certainly do, down the track, we always want to promote within, but the player needs to, they always need to have the ability and be able to be a first team player to be able to do that.
Thanks for explaining all that. Let's look back before we look forward. The loss to Leeds on Sunday after 9 straight wins, what's been the biggest thing you want your side to learn from?
Look, I think we didn't take our opportunities. That was the key there. We had 3, strong opportunities to score tries in that first half. I think if you score 2 out of those 3, is the outcome different? Possibly. But take nothing away from Leeds. They were great. They kept coming. We knew what we were going to get against a good team. They're third for a reason. So, but yeah, we've had a look at it. We've been honest with our review, but we move on and we look forward to League.
You've not lost back-to-back Super League games in 16 months. What's been the secret?
Look, I just think the players learn. They're very, very good at that. They can, they understand sort of where we went wrong, and they adapt really well. And obviously, they've got pride in not losing 2 in a row. I think that's what it boils down to. But the main thing is that that this group, you can talk around improvements, and they go out and they execute that at training, and then majority of the time that flows into the performance a week after. So, I'm looking forward to seeing that happening again.
What's the mood this week?
Yeah, that's fine. We try not to have different moods, whether we win or lose, but there's honest conversations, and there's been honest conversations in the review. But in terms of energy and the way we just trained, I thought it was good. So, I don't see any difference to what we were last week to where we are now.
Leigh have won 4 of the last 5, and of course the standout win was against Wigan last week. What did you make of that, and what have you made of their upturn in form?
Yeah, look, we know they're a good team. We played them earlier on in the year. They don't beat themselves. You need to find a way. And Wigan, going 8-0 up, majority of the time we're going to go on and win those games. But they played against a good Leigh team at home. So once they get a sniff, the crowd gets involved, and the energy sort of changes a little bit, and that's what happened on the weekend. And they come over the top of Wigan, so they're a good team. There's no doubt about that. We're looking forward to playing them.
You nailed them earlier on this season, didn't you? Are you expecting a closer contest given their recent newfound form? Oh,
look, I think every time we played them, regardless of the score, I think hasn't indicated how hard the game's been. We know what how physical that game was, and the score probably didn't indicate. Yeah, as I said, how close the game was. So they've improved, but they started the season well. And they've had 4 or 5, like you said, so they're in form. As I say, they're a good team.
Willie, thanks very much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Hi, Willie. Hope you're well.
Hey, Josh. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just a few from me, lots covered there. With every respect, and obviously it's important player welfare, but were you as surprised as the rest of us that Mikey Lewis failed his HIA over the weekend?
Yeah. Look, I don't want to go too much into it, mate, but yeah, it was one that, as I say, he'll be fine, and he's fine. He's okay.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Just on Danny Richardson, how is his mindset? Obviously, he headed out to Huddersfield and only played once there before another injury. Now he's gone to Salford, played really well there. Paul Rowley, obviously a big admirer of him. Now he's back. How's his mindset?
Yeah, he's fine. He's good. He wanted to go and play, but he understands, that he's a possibility to play with us this week. Look, he'll be now 21. He's our player. I've always said I want him playing, whether it's with us or with others. So he got that opportunity last week. But no, he's in good spirits, and he's training with us, and he seemed in a good space.
Were you happy with the way he slotted right in and took a almost commanding role for Salford on loan in the one game, in the 1 week he had there?
Yeah, it was. It's difficult to go in a new system. We had a look at his games. Obviously, things that we can see, or he sees it, how he can improve. But there was also I thought he managed the game well. his kicking game was good. So to go in a new team, a new system, and he didn't look out of place, did he? So that's a positive.
Just finally from me, I think we just had an email from the RFL. Tom Davies, career milestone 200, I think, have selected this weekend. Has he been every bit of a player you thought he'd be when you signed him, and potentially even more?
Yeah, he's probably been more. Look, I knew what we're going to get with Tom. My first conversation with him, I knew, it wasn't just a good player. It's a good person and a high energy person. He's a character of the team. He's been great for us. He does a lot of the tough stuff. His yardage carries, and he's a pleasure to coach, and he's good to have around the group. So he's been really important to us this year, and he will be going forward.
Nice one, thanks, Willie. Best of luck this weekend.
Cheers, Josh. Thanks, mate.
Hey, Willie, how are you doing?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. At the risk of irking you, did Mikey have stayed on last week?
No, I don't think he can stay on. I think he needed to come off. So, yeah.
It wasn't your average HIA, was it? Can you give any detail at all about what went on?
Oh, well, basically, mate, because when the player's down, motionless like that, that's when the doctor has to get involved, and basically Mikey did testing. He was fine. Like he passed all his testing, and I think it's an RFL. If he's down for a certain amount of time, ruling around that. And the doctors have got to make a call. Our doctor made a call, and that was it. So he's off.
So it's just a case of he got counted out, basically, for want of a better phrase.
Well, he's just basically, mate. When they're on the floor and they're not moving, that's when there's a difference between if a player's moving or not. I think that's when the doctors will come in and say certain amount of time we've got to rule him out.
Because we obviously had the one with Junior December, didn't we, in the grand final? So is it just down to a club call then? It's not.
Well, it can be both. I think the independent doctor can come in as well. So this was from our doctor. And we respect, what he says, and it is what it is. So he's not playing this week.
No, fair enough. We'll move on. It's obviously not uncommon for champion sides to have results like last week. Is it a case of it could be a blessing in disguise as long as you do learn from it?
Mate, you don't like losing. No one likes losing, but you certainly learn. Look, you learn from winning as well. But we'll take a lot of lessons from last week. You're never going to go through season, especially in this competition, with one loss or, not that I want it to be, but I'm sure there's possibly going to be another one along the way as well, and maybe more, who knows. But we're certainly going out to win every game, and that's the aim every week is obviously to perform well. We that first half, I thought we performed well. We in terms of creating opportunities, we just didn't execute. You could go in at 14 or 20-0. It could be a different second half. And then, we weren't happy the way we played in that second half. I think our attack, obviously, Mikey did go off, and I don't think our attack flowed as well. We had some, a try that was scored inside shoulder through the middle. Weren't proud of that one. And then another one was, the other try was, we moved the ball, and then we didn't have a kicker, so Tyrone has to come across the other side, kick, where he used to be that defender. There was a one-on-one miss, which led to be better. But so just little things that we went out of systems and went out of what we do. So that was, that's an area that we need to work on and improve. But look, we're looking forward now. We're looking forward to Leigh. We know it's going to be the same sort of game, and that's what players have got to get their head around now. Like every single week is going to be like the weekend and this weekend, and then when we play Catalans away, it'll be the same. And then when we play Salford off the back of that, who are improving side, like. They're all tough games, and we need to be expecting a tough game every week.
You do typically bounce back quickly, don't you? That must give you confidence on the back of a setback like that, going into another big game, as you say. Yeah,
they learn. They get their lessons and they learn. They've shown that. So I'm not seeing anything different at training, but the most important is obviously when you're playing and making sure that we execute what we've practiced today. On Saturday. So. Attitude's there, effort's there, energy's there. So all those sort of things are indicators for us to look at. And I'm not seeing anything slip.
Oh, good stuff. Thank you very much, Will.
Cheers, James.
All the best for Saturday.
Thanks, mate.